If you're a green card holder, visa applicant, or waiting for your immigration documents, what I'm about to share could fundamentally change how you travel and maintain your status in the United States. The Department of Homeland Security just implemented sweeping changes that took effect this week, and thousands more applicants are now in limbo following a major program suspension announced just yesterday. Whether you're already in the US or planning to come here, these updates affect you directly, and you need to know exactly what's happening right now. I'm here to break down the most significant immigration policy changes of December 2025 using only verified information from official government sources. No speculation, no rumors, just the facts you need to protect your immigration status and plan your future. Stay with me through this entire video because I'll explain not just what changed, but exactly what you need to do about it. Welcome to US Visa Updates, your trusted source for accurate, timely information about American immigration policy. I'm your host, and today we're covering three major developments that are reshaping the US immigration landscape right now in December 2025. First, the new biometric entry-exit system that goes into effect in just 6 days and will photograph every non-citizen entering or leaving the country. Second, the sudden suspension of the diversity visa lottery program that's left thousands of applicants uncertain about their future. And third, important policy updates from USCIS that affect how you submit documents and prove your identity. These aren't proposed changes or rumors floating around online. These are official policies published in the Federal Register, announced by the Department of Homeland Security, and confirmed by U.S. Customs and Border Protection. Every piece of information I share today comes directly from government sources, and I'll explain exactly where this information comes from so you can verify it yourself. Let's start with the change that will affect the most people. Happening in less than a week. Section 1. Biometric Entry-Exit System. On December 26, 2025, just 6 days from now, the United States will implement a comprehensive biometric entry-exit system at every port of entry. This affects all non-U.S. citizens, including green card holders, every time you enter or leave the country. Here's what's actually happening. The Department of Homeland Security published a final rule in the Federal Register on October 27, 2025. This rule authorizes U.S. Customs and Border Protection to collect facial biometrics, primarily through facial recognition photography from all non-citizens at airports, seaports, land borders, and any other authorized point of entry or departure. Let me be very clear about who this affects. If you hold a green card, you will be photographed every time you leave the United States and every time you return. If you have any type of visa, whether it's H-1B, F-1, L-1, or any other non-immigrant visa, you'll go through this process. Even if you're a diplomat, you're now included in this requirement. The previous exemptions for Canadian visitors and diplomats have been removed. The only people exempt from this requirement are U.S. citizens. If you're a citizen, you can choose to participate voluntarily, or you can opt out and go through traditional manual passport inspection instead. So, what exactly happens at the border? When you arrive at a U.S. port of entry or prepare to depart, CBP officers will use facial recognition cameras to capture your photograph. This image is then instantly compared against existing photographs in government databases, including your passport photo, visa application photo, and any previous entry or exit photos. The system uses what's called the Traveler Verification Service, a cloud-based matching system that verifies your identity in real time. For those wondering about privacy, here's what the government has stated officially. For U.S. citizens who voluntarily participate, photographs are deleted within 12 hours of verification. For non-citizens, including green card holders, your photographs are stored in the DHS Biometric Identity Management System for up to 75 years. This creates a permanent record of every time you enter or leave the United States. Why is the government doing this? According to the official Federal Register notice, the stated purposes are to enhance national security by detecting terrorists and criminals, prevent visa fraud and use of fraudulent documents, track visa, overstays more accurately, and prevent illegal re-entry of previously removed individuals. The government notes that Congress has been mandating some form of biometric entry-exit system since 1996, nearly 30 years ago, and this rule finally makes it fully operational. Now, let's talk about the practical implications. If you're a green card holder who travels frequently for work or family reasons, this system will create a comprehensive digital record of all your international travel. This has significant implications for naturalization applications. When you apply for citizenship, one of the requirements is proving you maintained continuous residence in the United States and were physically present for the required amount of time. With this new system, USCIS will have exact records of every day you spent outside the country. There's no longer any ambiguity about your travel history. The government estimates it will take 3 to 5 years to fully implement this system at every single port of entry across the country. They're prioritizing high-volume airports and major seaports first, then expanding to smaller facilities and land borders. However, the rule takes effect December 26th, regardless of where you're traveling. So, if the facility you're using has the technology in place, you'll go through this process. One important note about refusal. The regulations state that if you refuse to be photographed when required, CBP may deny you boarding for departure or deny you entry when arriving. For green card holders, this is particularly serious. Refusing a lawful order from a CBP officer could potentially be viewed as grounds for questioning your admissibility or even your permanent resident status. My strong recommendation is to comply with all biometric requirements. What should you do to prepare? First, understand that this is happening and is not optional. When you travel internationally starting December 26th, expect additional time at checkpoints for the biometric process, especially in the initial rollout period. Make sure all your travel documents are current and valid. If your green card or visa is expired or about to expire, renew it before traveling. Arrive at airports earlier than usual to account for any delays as the system is being implemented. And most importantly, keep your own records of all your international travel. Even though the government will have digital records, you should maintain your own spreadsheet or log showing dates of departure and return, destinations, and purposes of travel. This protects you if there's ever any discrepancy or technical error in the government's system. For those concerned about privacy or the implications of this expanded surveillance, immigration attorneys have noted that legal challenges are possible. However, as of right now, the rule is in effect starting December 26th, and you must comply regardless of any future legal challenges. Section 2, Diversity Visa Lottery Suspension. Now, let's move to the second major development, which just happened yesterday. On December 18th, 2025, the Department of Homeland Security announced an immediate pause of the Diversity Visa Lottery Program, also known as the Green Card Lottery. Here are the facts. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem announced that at President Trump's direction, USCIS is immediately pausing the DV lottery program. The State Department, which administers the lottery and issues the diversity immigrant visas, is indefinitely pausing the issuance of diversity visas. This decision came after the suspect in the recent Brown University and MIT shootings was identified as a green card holder who entered the United States through the Diversity Visa Program in 2017. Let me explain what the Diversity Visa Program is for those unfamiliar. Created by Congress in 1990, this program makes up to 55,000 immigrant visas available each year through a random lottery to people from countries with historically low rates of immigration to the United States. To be eligible, applicants need at minimum a high school education or equivalent work experience, must pass background checks, medical examinations, and must succeed in a consular interview. The program has been extremely popular. Nearly 20 million people applied for the 2025 lottery, with over 131,000 individuals selected when including spouses and dependents of winners. So what exactly has been suspended? According to the State Department spokesperson, they are indefinitely pausing the issuance of diversity visas. According to DHS, they have paused issuing green cards to those who came under the diversity program. What's still unclear at this moment is exactly how this pause applies to people at different stages of the process. If you already received a diversity visa and are outside the United States waiting to travel, the situation is uncertain. If you were selected in the lottery and are currently being vetted and going through the interview process, your case appears to be on hold. If you applied for the upcoming lottery but haven't been selected yet, that selection process may not happen. And if you were planning to apply in the next lottery cycle, there is no timeline for when or if the program will reopen. Immigration attorneys have noted that this is likely to face legal challenges. The diversity visa program was created by an act of Congress, not by executive order or agency regulation. This means that while the administration can pause issuing visas under existing authorities, a permanent elimination of the program would require Congress to pass new legislation. However, legal challenges take time, and in the meantime, the pause is in effect. What does this mean for affected individuals? If you're one of the thousands of people selected in recent lotteries who were preparing documentation or waiting for interviews, you're now in a state of uncertainty. The government has not announced how long this pause will last. They have not said whether pending cases will eventually be processed or will be canceled entirely. Immigration attorneys are advising affected individuals to maintain all their documentation, keep their contact information current with the State Department and USCIS, monitor official government websites daily for updates, and consult with a licensed immigration attorney about alternative pathways if the diversity visa is no longer an option. For those who were considering the diversity visa as their path to permanent residence, you now need to explore other options. This might include employment-based green cards if you have job skills in demand in the United States, family-based immigration if you have qualifying relatives who are U.S. citizens or permanent residents, or other special immigrant categories for which you might be eligible. The diversity visa lottery, at least for now, is not available as a pathway. It's worth noting that the diversity visa program has been controversial for years. President Trump attempted to end it during his first term, and various members of Congress have proposed eliminating it and reallocating those visa numbers to other categories. However, until this week, it remained operational. What's different now is that instead of proposing legislation, the administration has used executive authority to suspend it immediately. The program primarily benefited applicants from Africa, parts of Europe, Asia, and Oceania, with low migration rates to the U.S. Countries like India and China have never been eligible because they already send large numbers of immigrants through employment and family-based channels. For many people from underrepresented countries, this was their only realistic path to permanent residence in the United States, as they didn't have family members here and weren't in occupations that easily qualify for employment-based visas. Section 3. Other important USCIS updates. Beyond these two major announcements, there are several other important policy updates from USCIS that you should know about. First, USCIS has implemented a new photo policy that took effect December 12, 2025. Under this policy, photographs used to create immigration documents like green cards and work permits must be no more than 3 years old. If your biometric photo in USCIS records is older than 3 years, you'll need to attend a new biometric appointment before they can issue or renew your document. This replaces both pandemic-era policies that allowed extensive photo reuse and the age-based rules introduced in 2024. The stated purpose is to enhance national security and prevent identity fraud by ensuring photos accurately reflect current appearance. What this means practically is that even if you submitted biometrics relatively recently, if it's been more than 3 years, expect to be called for another appointment when you apply for document renewals or new benefits. Second, USCIS has published updated policy guidance regarding employment authorization documents. Effective December 5, 2025, there are revised maximum validity periods for certain EAD categories. The specific categories and new validity periods are detailed in Volume 8 of the USCIS Policy Manual, which is available on their website. If you have an EAD or are applying for one, check whether your category is affected. Third, for those going through adjustment of status, there have been technical updates to Form I-485 and related supplements. The newest form additions were published December 10, 2024. These updates include changes to how you request exemptions from the Affidavit of Support requirement and updates to Form I-485 Supplement J, which is used for job portability under certain circumstances. If you're preparing to file an adjustment application, make sure you're using the current form version. Fourth, USCIS continues to update processing times and is working to reduce the backlog that built up in recent years. According to their latest reports, median processing time for employment authorization documents dropped to just over 1 month, and naturalization application processing times have been significantly reduced. However, processing times vary widely depending on your service center and the type of application, so always check current processing times for your specific form and location on the USCIS website. Section 4. What you should do now. Given everything I've just explained, let me give you clear, actionable steps you should take right now to protect your immigration status and stay compliant. If you're a green card holder who travels internationally, understand that starting December 26th, you'll be photographed every time you enter and exit the United States. Plan for extra time at borders. Keep meticulous personal records of all your travel, including dates, destinations, and purposes. This protects you when you eventually apply for naturalization, as you'll need to account for every trip, and USCIS will have complete records to verify against. If you were selected in the diversity visa lottery or have a pending diversity visa application, monitor official government websites daily. The DHS and State Department websites will be the first to announce any changes to how the pause is being implemented or if it's lifted. Keep all your documentation organized and readily available. Consider consulting an immigration attorney about alternative pathways to permanent residence. Don't abandon your case unless officially told to do so, but be prepared for the possibility that it may not proceed. For everyone, regardless of your immigration status, make sure your address is always current with USCIS. You must file Form AR11 within 10 days of moving. This can be done online and takes just a few minutes. Failure to update your address means you might miss critical notices about appointments, requests for evidence, or other important communications. Attend all USCIS appointments. If you receive a biometric appointment notice, an interview notice, or any other request to appear, you must attend. If you absolutely cannot attend due to an emergency, file a request to reschedule immediately with valid documentation explaining why. Never simply skip an appointment, as this can result in denial of your application or, for green card holders, potential questions about your status. Keep copies of everything, every form you file, every document you submit, every notice you receive from USCIS or any other agency. Create both physical and digital backups. Immigration cases can take years, and you may need to reference documents from earlier in the process. Stay informed through official sources only. The immigration information landscape is full of rumors, speculation, and sometimes deliberate misinformation. Always verify information through official government websites like uscis.gov, the State Department's travel website, or cbp.gov. Be extremely cautious about immigration advice from social media, forums, or non-credentialed individuals. When in doubt about your specific situation, consult with a licensed immigration attorney or an accredited representative recognized by the Department of Justice. Finally, if you're eligible to apply for naturalization and become a U.S. citizen, seriously consider doing so. Once you're a U.S. citizen, most of these concerns about maintaining status, travel limitations, and program suspensions no longer apply. You cannot be deported, except in extremely rare cases of fraud in obtaining citizenship. You can travel freely without worrying about abandonment of permanent residence. If you've been a green card holder for 5 years or 3 years if married to a U.S. citizen and you meet the other requirements, applying for citizenship provides the ultimate security. Let me summarize the 3 most important things you need to remember from this video. First, the biometric entry-exit system begins December 26, 2025. Every non-citizen entering or leaving the U.S. will be photographed. This creates a permanent, comprehensive record of your international travel. Be prepared for this process and understand it's not optional. Second, the Diversity Visa Lottery Program has been indefinitely suspended as of December 18, 2025. If you're affected by this, stay informed through official channels and explore alternative immigration pathways with the help of an immigration attorney. Third, USCIS continues updating policies on everything from photographs to employment authorization. Regularly check the USCIS website for policy manual updates that might affect your situation. These are significant changes to the U.S. immigration system, and they're happening right now, not in some distant future. The immigration landscape is evolving rapidly, especially under this administration, and staying informed is absolutely critical to protecting your status and achieving your immigration goals. Thank you for watching U.S. Visa Updates. If you found this information valuable, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Click the notification bell so you're immediately alerted when immigration policies change. These updates can happen suddenly, as we saw with the diversity visa suspension, and you need to know about them quickly. Share this video with anyone you know who has a green card, is waiting for an immigrant visa, or is navigating